animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
And it looks like they might have found something. Could the incredible Nkahumas have killed during the day? Let's go see where that vulture went down to ground. Remember, this is 100% live. You are experiencing the African wilderness in real time with the killer bees. And remember, you can also, I can nearly fall out of cars, but you can also ask us questions using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or the email address questions@wildearth.tv. Now, I wonder what that vulture has seen that caused it to plummet to earth so rapidly. Now, there are a few vultures' nests in this area, so I'm not getting too excited just yet. I'm going to have to see more vultures in the area to get more excited. Jamie. Jamie, what's your route? Okay, there is the vulture. Copy, thanks. So there is a white-backed vulture in a dead leadwood tree. What have we got in front of us, Brian? There are my binoculars now. And there's another couple of birds of prey there. There we go. There. Oh, that is an interesting eagle. There's a batelier in front. And there's quite a bit of white in that eagle. I initially thought maybe a tawny. Let's have a look. A quick look next to us. I'm being an absolute nana. I'm staring around at birds in the sky, and there's a large. You know what's happened here, Brian? Let me just have it. I think an elephant's just given birth. I'm looking at the footprints. And there's no sign of a predator. Just have a quick look here. If something growls, then we know I was wrong. There's definitely a sign of a predator. So what I'm looking for now is any lion pug marks, leopard pug marks. This is a large piece of bloody stuff that has been covered up by elephants. I mean, there's no predator tracks here whatsoever. There's elephant tracks everywhere. Now, sometimes when elephants give birth, the herd will actually huddle around them. Now, I think what we're looking at here is not something you see every day. This is elephant afterbirth. Wow. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Let's have a look which way the elephants went. And maybe, whoopsie, we can go look for a tiny newborn baby elephant. I can hear them up ahead. It looks like the tracks have gone that way. But isn't that absolutely fascinating? And that's what's attracted these birds of prey. I'll come back to have a look, see if any of them come down to start feeding. Of course, we're not the only vehicle out here. Jamie's also out. She's heading to check up on Karula. And I'm going to go look for the Nkahumas. But first, let's see if we can find the latest addition to the Djuma elephant family. While we do that, let's go across to Jamie so she can bid you a fond hello.
Good afternoon, and what an intriguing start to the sunset safari. I really hope that Brent manages to find those elephants and you get a glimpse at an hour-old baby elephant. My name is Jamie. This afternoon I have Jandre on camera with me, fresh-faced after his walk with Steph this morning, and we are heading back to where I had Karula and her two gorgeous cubs this morning on the sunrise safari. Sorry, there was something in my shoe, but it's okay, I managed to dislodge it. I think it was a fruit chafer, or an insect. So, exciting times. It's running up my leg. Should I be concerned? Oh yes, there it is. Now it's in my shirt. Oh dear, now it's on my seat. Hold on. Try and get it. No, see. Oh, not a fruit chafer at all. Oh dear. Okay, well, it can start the whole process again from the bottom up, and when it reaches my sleeve again, we'll try that once more. I don't even know what it was so fast. Summer's here. I'm just trying to look where it is so I don't squidge it, but I actually think it managed to fall into the separated groove. Remember how I made a big hole in the bottom of Jigger that I never told anyone about? Steph in final control. Anyway, Opa fixed it for me. Those of you who've been watching over the last few days, where I somehow managed to make a hole in the bottom of the car, it has been repaired, and I think that the little gap that's left behind is where our insect friend disappeared to. Well, I'll let you know. If it starts the whole process again, I'll let you know. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, I do. Elephant placentas. I've actually found elephant sort of areas that they've just given birth in before. I don't know where Brent is exactly, but I do know there's lots of elephant tracks here. But I mean, there's lots of elephants around at the moment everywhere. So that could be entirely coincidental. I have found elephant placentas before, and one of the things to look for is the baby's meconium. I think that's how you say it. Meconium. The first defecation of a baby elephant when it comes out of the womb, and that's usually a few moments after birth, or past to a few hours after birth, but it's usually within the region of the placenta itself. Something totally different in texture to your average pile of elephant dung. Very gooey and very strange greyish green colour. Oh, that's really exciting. It's one of the things that we've often said we dream of seeing on these live safaris, is a live elephant birth. No, Brent started off that whole segment with vultures, and there are lots and lots of them about, and still more descending. So I assume they're coming to investigate what they were looking at with Brent. Or possibly just thermaling, using the rising hot air to look for other carcasses. The vultures of Djuma are kept happy and well fed by the Nkuhuma lionesses. It's the place to be for an up-and-coming young vulture. Hang out around Djuma and you're almost guaranteed to at least get a few nibbles of a buffalo carcass pretty much every day. The Nkuhumas have been positively unstoppable of late. And I have no doubt that last night was no different. Okay, I assume these have been attracted to the other vultures landing wherever Brent is. I assume he's not too far either. He can't be, because we only left a couple of minutes apart, so he must be somewhere just ahead of me in that general direction. So that must be that. So that's how vultures work. One of them spots something, the other, and starts to descend. Another vulture will see that descent and start to follow to investigate whatever the first vulture saw, and so on and so on. So you've got a knock-on effect. And for birds flying that high, they can see very far, and also very far into sort of the sky. So they can see those vultures descending from enormous distances. I'm now wondering if there's Yeah. Brent is just ahead of me. Standing by.
Jamie, there's a herd of eddies around where the cruiser fighting, so I'm just trying to follow up on the tracks for that possible baby eddy.
Okay, copy. Do you mind if I still make my way into that area, or do you want me to rather move on?
No, make your way, no problem. I don't think this is the herd that goes there, so I'm going to bypass them. You should be hitting them at the river crossing there, in the drainage line below the carcass. I haven't seen any other leopards yet.
Copy that, thank you. So that conversation was just the two of us planning where to go and which way to go. Oh wow, okay, so the carcass the placenta must be over there. I'm just getting a lay of the land. Brent and I don't usually circle each other like this. He was planning, I think, on going towards the Nkuhumas. But this is very, very interesting. And yep, the vultures are definitely coming in. Amazing. Alright, speaking of Brent, obviously you heard our conversation there about them being close to the Karula kill. Let's head across and see how he's doing.
I'm trying to search for that herd that possibly had that little newborn baby. Now, there's a big herd of elephants behind me under where Karula is. Jamie's heading in there now. I think it's this elephant herd up here. I can't really see them, but there's quite a lot of corralling behavior. There's a spot where you can maybe get a little bit higher up ahead. I'm going to see if we can maybe see that tiny little elephant. You've got to be careful now because they could still be a bit nervous. I'm just going to stop here. There were these thickets here just behind Chele Pan. And I thought I saw some corralling behavior, which wouldn't be uncommon with a newborn Ellie. So Sharon says she saw a newborn Ellie about 4.5 hours ago on the Djuma Pan. It's possible, Sharon, but from what I could see, the track's headed to the south, and there's no need for that herd to go to the Djuma Pan when you've got Chele Pan right here. So they could just be, so you could just make out an elephant in the thicket there. So maybe they'll come out into the open on the other side. So we're going to do the same thing. Now, I think we've popped out quite close to where the placenta was. I'm going to see if any of the birds of prey have swooped down quickly. The thing is, there's been a lot of Ellies around where Karula was. They might have actually pushed her off. I didn't look too carefully. I was looking for a baby elephant. Not a bird of prey, but a glossy starling. And you probably feeding on any insects that might be attracted. There's a couple of vultures about, and I think it's just a little bit too close to the road for them to come down while we're here. Where could the baby elephant be? Now, Andre in Germany is wondering, what does an elephant track look like? I'll try find a clear one for you, Andre. But it's big and round, like an elephant's foot. Now, as I mentioned, you got to be careful around elephants, especially when they've got newborns. Sometimes they can be quite aggressive, and James Dungan was wondering that. Now, I'm trying to see, I'll have to wait. Brian's going to get a surprise on his lens just now, and there's a moth. I'm waiting for it to crawl across the lens before I move it. So they can, yes, they can be aggressive. That's why I said there's a corralling aspect that they get defensive around the newborn and the mother. And often when I've seen elephants give birth, the rest of the herd will scream. So you actually can't really see much while the elephant gives birth, as it's protected by the rest of the herd. Okay, I'm going to keep checking for this tiny little baby for a little longer. Now, it could be right in one of these thickets here. And while we do that, Jamie's with some more elephants.
My suspicion is that Brent is absolutely correct and that the tiny baby will be hidden away with Mum in the dense vegetation. In the meantime, we have stopped at the elephant herd, the one with the third ear. We're missing about a third of her ear. Down this, I mean 2/3 of her ear. She's only, oh my goodness, she's throwing grass all over the show. Some of that nearly came and hit the car. She's having a wonderful time pulling up the various weeds and perennial plants around the base of the Mulwati drainage line or river system. My plan was always to come and check for Karula. Well, I think it's safe to say she's no longer here, given that this entire place is teeming with elephants everywhere we look. Hello, big girl. Hello. Hello. Instantly recognizable. We've seen her before, for our newer viewers, with that injury that's obviously lost her 2/3 of her ear. We have no idea what caused that. Hello, little one. Absolutely not a clue what would have caused that. It might have been a scratch or an injury that got badly infected, because of course that skin of an elephant's ear is so thin. Brrr. What was that about? Funny little tantrum from one of the younger elephants. But yes, that skin is so thin that it could well have been infection, and a combination of infection and ticks that lost her ear. Look, he's here. Brent and Brian. Right, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the tracks come in this direction. How did Brent end up there? How did he get past me? There are so many questions I have. How did he get all the way around? I know he's been doing loops, but how? How is what I'm most impressed about, because he must have found a way out of this drainage line. Anyway, he's been doing lots and lots of loops. We're just sitting waiting patiently. For those of you watching the sunrise safari, that large jackalberry tree with an elephant rumbling beneath it will be very familiar. That is, of course, where we last saw the Queen Karula. So as I said, our leopards will probably be gone somewhere. Hello. Which way are you going now? I think so too.
And it looks like Gold Fang.
Really?
Like you see that one female there's got that downward face.
Oh yes, she does.
But I think you're in the right spot here. Any sign of the leopards?
No sign of the leopards, and I'm not getting out to look for their tracks right
No,
now.
it might not be a good idea. I'm going to carry on and go see where the informers were. They were around the Jacobberry.
Okay, I'm just going to sit this one out and see if it pops out, but I don't know, whenever I've encountered elephants that have given birth, they hide.
That's why I think it's something
Yeah,
that's thicker.
I think you're right.
And if you want to go look at the placenta, it's just on that corner past Cheddar Pad.
I saw the vultures there. Cool. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Bye. Later.
Bye. Enjoy the lions. Oh yes, it is Fang. I haven't seen her in a very long time. Brent's absolutely right. It is indeed our backwards-facing elephant tusk friend. Oh, this is special. What a lovely reunion. Although that tusk, I'm going to have to wait for her to come out a little bit. Because there's a few elephants with backward-facing tusks. Now, I want to be no, it is her. She's got that notch there, right at the tip. That's definitely her. So some kind of deformity, some kind of possibly even an injury to her tusk while it was still growing has resulted in a very odd placement of that particular tusk, hence the name Fang, because we like to keep our naming very original. The name Fang, which I actually feel truly suits her. And this, if it is Fang, this particular herd is massive, and it seems to be, I think that seems to be the case. There should be the one elephant with the third of an ear. There should also be 2 elephants with floppy ears, one of which with 2 floppy ears, somewhere in this herd, if my memory serves me. We've spent quite an inordinate amount of time with Fang. We sat and watched her guard her little group whilst the babies napped before on Buffalo's cutline. We've actually had some truly extraordinary sightings with her. And one of the special things to sit and watch actually is the way that she's learnt or adapted to use that backwards facing tusk. Hopefully she's going to start coming out of the dense vegetation. It's probably not her that gave birth, because I think that young calf next to her belongs to her. So that would still be a little bit young. Hello. For her to be giving birth again. But as from what we've seen of Fang's herd dynamics, she is definitely very high ranking, if not the matriarch. I don't think she's the matriarch. I think there's one cow that's slightly larger than her. But on a day like today, with a fresh elephant birth, she's going to play an enormous role. Now, Eileen, you wanted to know, speaking of matriarchs, which of course this baby's got a long way before it gets there, Eileen would like to know, in an elephant herd, is the matriarch always the biggest and the oldest female? No, not really, no. It's generally one... Oh, sorry, Brent's very loud there. Generally, the matriarch will be one of the oldest females. Sometimes it will be an almost inherited thing, so a daughter will take over from her mother. But there will be a point at which the oldest elephant female in a herd will no longer be capable of leading the herd properly as the matriarch, because she's got to the point where she's just too old and she's a little bit weak, at which point she'll still be the oldest member of the herd, but one of the younger females will step in. So no, it's generally one of the largest and oldest females. A matriarch will only really step into the role in her 40s, in a normal, 30s to 40s, in a normal breeding herd structure, but that just depends. If something has happened to that herd and she's all alone, a 20-year-old elephant can take up that responsibility. I do know that Fang is one of the largest ones, in that she does seem to be very central to this herd's life, often talking to them, rumbling to them, and there's been lots of communication happening here. I would not be at all surprised if this was the herd that the female gave birth in. And it's an amazing thing, an elephant birth, because the whole herd will surround the female as she gives birth, performing a protective circle and often reaching out and touching her with concerned sort of, not expression, but very concerned body language. Now, Diane, you would like to know if an elephant makes a lot of noise when she gives birth. Not to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I've seen a few videos of elephant birthing, The rest of the herd can be very, very jumpy, and as you know, jumpy elephants or nervous elephants are quite vocal. So the rest of the herd can be quite noisy, but generally the female doesn't make too much in the way of a noise. Lots and lots of low, comforting rumbles, though, that will come from the adult females, especially if it is a young female experiencing the whole process for the first time. It's truly extraordinary watching older elephants take on the sort of the gentling role of guiding the younger females through the whole process. Of course, one of the most famous videos that I'm sure some of you would love to watch is the situation where a young elephant cow gave birth too close to the Olifants River in the Kruger National Park, and her calf ran serious risk of actually being washed away. You must see if you can find that video and watch it, and watch the way that the larger adult females respond and actually help the female and her calf survive. It's a special thing, which is why I dream of seeing a live elephant birth. Actually, to be honest, I dream of seeing an elephant birth, full stop. I think that would be a truly spectacular appearance. And yes, absolutely, Jennifer in St. Louis, you want to know whether or not the elephants are less welcoming to people viewing them or the little elephant calf when it's first been born. Yes, absolutely they are. And it's very, very important to give them their space, which is why I think you'll find Brent did exactly the same thing. He's driven around, but he's waited in the same way we are, just waited for the elephants to come to him, and I'm now waiting for the elephants to come to me. Yes, little boy, just like you. They are on edge. It's been a stressful day for all of them. The hormones, you imagine for an animal, because we don't realize how much of a role subconsciously our sense of smell when it comes to hormones plays a role. But imagine for an animal like an elephant with an incredibly sensitive sense of smell and hearing, highly, highly developed emotional capabilities, and giving birth when they know that a member of their herd is very vulnerable. Imagine how traumatizing the whole process is for the whole herd. Not traumatizing, and perhaps traumatizing is the wrong word. You can imagine that they all are a little bit on edge. This young bull doesn't seem too concerned, though. So one of the things I've been doing is keeping an eye on everybody's body language, from when we first pulled in to watching the elephants as they approach. I mean, Fang's going to come down this hill now, and as she does, she's going to stop and look at me. As she does, her body language is going to take on a completely different tone as she comes through. Hello, girl. And that's mainly because of gravity. She's coming down a steep slope, so it automatically looks more threatening when an elephant's coming towards you downhill. But I think maybe she's just going to stick around and play quite a protective role up there. I'm sure this female's with her new baby is somewhere here. This place is positively teeming with elephants. Now, Patricia, on the subject of the whole herd protecting that little elephant, you wanted to know if the herd will stay put. I wonder what she's after there. That's interesting. You wanted to know if the whole herd will stay put and protect until the calf is ready to move off. And the answer is yes, absolutely. She will, or they will. They'll stay until the calf is back on its feet and starts to wobble off. And they will comfort the mother, they will be around the mother, and just in general be very, very supportive of the whole situation. So yes, they will. That being said, if there is something wrong with the baby, if, let's say, the mother didn't get enough nutrients and the baby's very, very weak when it's born, if it's not going to survive, at some point the herd will leave it behind, and generally it takes new mothers a little bit longer to come to that realization that their baby is not going to survive, and they will stay with their baby until for a few days in the most heartbreaking situation, at which point afterwards they've still, in their state of misery and mourning, got to go off and find the rest of their herd. Fortunately, that's something I've never ever had to witness. I think it must be heartbreaking to see. There's beautiful Fang, giving us a demonstration, kind of, mind you, a shy demonstration, of the way that she uses her backwards-facing tusk. Interestingly enough, it seems like it's her dominant tusk. She seems to use it more often, despite the fact that it's completely upside down. And Vedette in Indiana, you're saying, could the backwards-facing fang on the mother hurt a baby? No, absolutely not. These females have such incredible spatial awareness. They are so aware of what's going on around them and to the other females that I really... No, is that it? Oh, it's there. There it is behind the mother. Is that it? Could it be? Oh my goodness. Look, it's still fuzzy. It is. Oh goodness, look at its wobbly legs. Oh, I don't believe it. I can't believe we've actually seen it. Hi, baby. Welcome to the world. Oh my word. Oopsie, it's okay. Hello, Mommy. It's alright. It's okay, Mom. It's alright, Mom. You've got Fang there. It's okay. It's okay. Promise I'm not a danger. Oh my goodness. Oh, careful, careful, careful. Oh no. Oh, it's okay, little one. Okay. Alright. Hello, Mommy. You're okay. You're okay. Okay, Gendre, it's very important that we keep our movements nice and slow, no loud noises. And we must just sit. Hello, Mum. Now do you see? You see the bonds. Listen to her talking to Fang. Look at Fang gentling it, checking to see it's okay. It could be her sister's daughter. Or even her daughter's daughter. Oh, gorgeous. I've got goosebumps. Actually, if I'm completely honest, I've got tears in my eyes. It's okay, this little baby's absolutely fine. They take tumbles, it's what happens out here. Little uncoordinated legs on a very tricky perch. Okay, guys, okay. You can see what I mean, elephant's very on edge. Little baby stopping to drink. Mom has just given birth to this. This is unbelievable. Hi, guys. Oh, too gorgeous. This is where trust and our body language are so important as well. We need to communicate to her that we're not a threat at all. She's okay. Your baby's fine. Massive female. She's absolutely huge, so this will not be her first calf. And so this is so special. Now Liz, you say move over lions and leopard cubs, you found a new love. I couldn't agree more. Now I'm concentrating very hard here. Okay. Chandra, very slow movements, alright, as she comes past. When she comes past. I think we've got the full trust of the herd. Look at Mom moving the sticks out of the way for her baby. Isn't that incredible? She's already seen it fall once. She doesn't want it to happen again. This is such a tricky spot for little one. Oh, and she's hungry. Fair enough. Oh, gorgeous. Can't believe how fluffy it is. This is absolute magic. We are so lucky. So lucky. Okay. Hello, big girl. It's okay. It's okay. Very slow, Chandra. All right. Oh, Mom, you incredible creature. Look at what you've created. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's a little girl. It is a little girl. Look how she's reaching back, touching her baby. Oh. Little one. Imagine how new and foreign and confusing this all is. And see how Fang's taking that role again, next to it, protecting it. That little elephant's gonna get pushed, I think. Yeah. Pushed away. They're curious. Oh, hello. I've been so distracted I didn't realize I'd been snuck up on. Mom's now giving herself a comforting sand bath. Little one reaching up, touching her, learning its mother's smell, forming that bond that is going to be a lifelong one. Oh, look at his little shaky, wobbly legs. I'm just going to put my radio on in case I hear a vehicle coming, because I just want to be able to be in the position to warn them if they should start coming into this area, because it was where Karuda was. So I just want to make sure that if I hear a vehicle, we can just warn them not to come in, preferably not to come in at all. Rather just to wait. Oh, look at that. I know, this, Jen, you're absolutely right. The cow's back legs are still damp. This calf is just dried off. I mean, It is such a... Oh, hang on. I said it was a little girl. I think it's a little boy. This is such a tiny baby. This can only be, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours old. Look at it reaching out, touching Mom. Mom is hungry. She's got to replenish her energy. This is too magic. I mean, really, the fact that we are lucky enough to witness this is... And we have Brent to thank for it, actually. He's put us in the right direction. I cannot believe we've started off our afternoon like this. I'm going to have a smile on my face all week. It's incredible. The end of 22 months of investment from this mother. She's carried that little thing for 22 months, nearly 2 years. And she's got her whole family around to support her. Hasn't quite even learnt which side the milk bar is on. And she's going to try and direct it ever so slightly. We are so lucky that she trusts us like this. Okay, whoopsie. Little wobble. That's okay, little one. Wobbles happen. Gonna have lots more of them in your life. Bear in mind, this thing is only a few hours old. And it's just learned to walk. I'd prefer it if it didn't walk in our direction, though. To be completely honest. Not that I'm not completely and utterly in love. Oh, little boy. Welcome to the world. This is so confusing for you. No, no, little one. Milk's on the other side. What on earth is going through this tiny creature's head? See what I mean about their incredible proprioception? They never hurt each other. Unless it's intentional, which of course is very seldom. She knows her little baby's there. Look at that size difference. Actually beyond words in this sighting. Really, I don't think that there's much that you can say about a situation like this. Just that we're unbelievably lucky. And you, buddy, I would suggest you stay quite far away.
Afternoon, Wolves.
Young bull is about to come past us. This is unbelievable. I mean, oh, look at it with its little wobbly legs. Elephants have always been one of my absolute favorites. And I have to say, the one thing I hope in all of this, I really hope my mom's watching. Because I know that she would love this moment. Gently guiding him. Now he's already fed. Obviously we saw him feed earlier, and I noticed that she has suckle marks around her nipples, on her left hand nipple as well. So he has fed a few times already now. Right, Mommy? This new big world is very big and very scary. And there's all these giants around me. reaching back, constantly checking on him. I keep picturing that fall over and over in my head, and the way that they rush towards that little one. Not just the mom, because you can understand mom, of course. That maternal instinct is so strong. But the way that all of them, all of the adult females, went running towards it. Protect it, to make sure that it's okay. We might not have seen a live elephant birth, but we've come very, very close, and we've experienced one of the most magical moments. This is the youngest baby elephant I've ever seen. I'm very glad that we could share it with you. Oh, look at it exploring its world and that trunk. This just mysterious extension on its body. And slippery feet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oopsie daisy. Oh, luckily Mom's there. Oh. Hello, Mom. I'm here. So is Fang. It's okay. Hello, Fang. It's alright, girl. I promise. Not up to anything. And off goes one of the most extraordinary little creatures. Oh dear! Speed wobble. They've got a little bit overconfident there. And protected by the massive bulk of Fang behind them. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. It was so cool. I'm obviously not going to follow them. That, to me, makes total sense. I'm sure you'll all agree. We're not going to go dashing off behind them. We're going to go leave that little one to do their thing. Leave Mom to do her thing. We've been unbelievably fortunate to have experienced that. Just sitting and waiting. And the fact that they did pop out. I thought they would, but I didn't dare hope. Unbelievable. Sure, I'm actually shaking. That was so incredible. Chandra, how incredible was that? Okay, now what? I'm done. I might go home, you know. Have a little lie down, have maybe a cup of tea, and steady myself. After all of that. Yo. Okay. Well, bravo. Can you believe that it's Fang's herd? The one thing I do feel guilty about is the fact that Brent did find that placenta, but it was a truly team effort that we just experienced. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to recover myself slightly. In the meantime, I'm going to send you across to Brent and his buffalo.
Now we're looking for the incredible Nkuhumas, and look at that. That buffalo cow has the very distinct wound on her back that comes from a lion being attached to you. You see they're moving through. Now, apparently the lions were around here this morning. Let's try to see get another view of that buffalo. Now, this is a little breeding herd, but that's probably originally part of a bigger breeding herd that's been split by the lions. It's a bit far. We'll try have a look. I think that could have maybe happened last night, even this morning, maybe. See where those buffalo are heading. They are quite skittish. Now this is apparently right here, according to Taxon, where there was a Birmingham and in Kahuma this morning. I'm following Taxon's tracks into where he had the sighting. Is it possible that these poor buffalo might stumble into an ambush? Let's have a look at that wound. You can see they're nervous. They can probably pick up the scent of lions in the area. You can see there's an oxpecker opening that up. Okay, so I'll probably look, there's quite a lot of dry blood there. Maybe last night, yesterday, that buffalo managed to escape from lions. Now, of course, oxpeckers feed on ticks, but they also feed on blood. So when certain animals have open wounds, they can be actually quite a pain, as they just keep opening up that wound. Well, they're not looking too nervous at the moment. And according to Taxon, the tracks of the rest of the pride went deep into that river system off Gallagher, not Gallagher, off Gari cut line. Okay. Bye-bye, buffs. So this is where Taxon had an Nkuma lioness and a Birmingham. But apparently during the day, one was seen drinking at the Gallagher Pan. So if we get no luck in this area, we'll head back there. Okay, so those buffalo have come through this area. The lions were apparently a little bit further to the north. So let's go have a look. Well, there was 2 lions here. The rest of the pride, the tracks were apparently further to the north. Now, they have been spending a lot of time in these river systems in this area. So fingers crossed they're still around. Now, I'm also looking for vultures and hoping to see some sitting in the tree. Now, on yesterday's sunset safari, and I think also this morning's sunrise safari, we were lucky enough to see another pride of lions called the Tsalala Pride. And Haley's wondering, are they not in danger from the Birmingham boys? No, oh yes, of course they're in danger from the Birmingham boys, but they're a little bit further to the west. And the Birmingham boys don't go into Arathusa that often, or very deep into Arathusa. So their territory is this, well, Djuma, mostly Djuma, through down to Hoffman's, and then east from there towards the Kruger boundary. I just want to ask Tax exactly where those tracks were. Tax. Tax, how far from the big Jackalberry with the Zinkonzo going into the Shkova? Close to that little Leadwood, or further closer to the Buffelshoek boundary? just trying to establish exactly where the Inkahumas might have gone down. Some more elephants. There's just eddies everywhere. I'm very jealous that Jamie and VM got to see that little tiny newborn elephant. Oh, Jeandre, sorry, not VM. And those guys are heading down into that little river system where we think the lions are hiding. I can't see any lion tracks just yet. I'm checking carefully in the shade here. They could be lying up on the edge. As soon as I find the tracks, I might find a place where I can go sort of peek over the edge, see if the lions are lounging in the shade and the nice cool sand at the bottom of the dry river. Lovely Cape glossy starling with all the light on him this evening. Look at that beautiful bird. A yellow eye. One of the distinctive features. Now we have a few starling species in this area, this being one of our more common species. Of course, the Birchall starling also being relatively common. But when you see Cape glossies, one must always have a double check quickly, because there could be another glossy starling species we get here, which is the greater blue-eared glossy starling. But he's sort of more blue underneath, very green on top like that, where the Cape glossies sort of a bluey green. And what you really want to look at is around the ears. It has a much sort of darker. So if we have a look around that starling's ears, off we turn, there we go. And we're looking for dark ear. Ah, see, now even me, who birds regularly, can get confused from time to time. This is indeed not a Cape glossy starling. This is indeed the the greater blue-eared starling. And the reason I can tell that is if you look around his ear, it's dark around behind the eye, where the Cape glossy starling will lack that. So other than that, they are actually very difficult to tell apart. So I'll show you how difficult they are to tell apart. So yeah, there's the Cape glossy starling. And what we're specifically looking at is around the head. So you see, we could see that really dark patch below his eye. That is not there in the Cape glossy starling. Okay, Brian, I'm going to change the picture. There we go. And then there we go. We look. That was what was the giveaway there. And just that darker area below the eye and behind the eye. So there we go, greater blue-eared starling. And I'm sure that might even be a new species for a few of our birders out there. Now we're looking for the lesser spotted Nkoma Pride. Remember, we are live, and hashtag Safari Live or questions at wildearth.tv if you would like to get hold of us and ask us any questions about what we're up to, what we're seeing, or any musings or wonderings about what's going on the live safari. Now, we are looking for lions. Malik is wondering what's going on with the lion with the messed up face. Now, Malik, what happens with lions, and specifically male lions, at some point of well, actually probably multiple periods during their life, they will have a messed up face. They are male lions, and they do. We've got no tracks, so I'm just going to head back the other way. And so, Malik, what happens is that they're always going to have wounds, scars, limps. They are constantly in battle with each other and possibly with other lions to hold a dominance over an area. So they will normally heal, and if they don't, they'll die, and that's part of nature. As harsh as everyone might think it will be, it's not our place to intervene. We are here to observe. Now, this brings me to another topic, but we'll get into that a little bit later because it's quite a long one. So it seems like Jamie has found some primates to show you.
Well, I think the primates actually found me. I've been taking a moment or two to recollect myself after that incredibly special sighting, and we just happened to notice that we're being watched by a troop of monkeys. There's eyes everywhere in the African bush. Now that tells me something very important, since originally we were coming to this area to look for Karula and her two cubs, the female leopard and her two gorgeous 8-month-old bundles of joy. And what it tells me is that they are not here. The chances are that if a monkey troop were to see a group of leopards like that, and particularly a female leopard with cubs, they would be alarm calling, or they would have moved away from this area completely. Leopard is one of the few things, along with our cameraman, capable of keeping pace with a monkey bouncing from tree to tree. The only thing that is actually really a threat to them in terms of terrestrial predators. The only other thing, think about it carefully, would be a bird of prey that could be a threat to them. Look at this little one, looking at us full of curiosity. Okay, well, not looking at us with no curiosity. Looking at its world with curiosity. And having a jolly good scratch at the same time. There's incredibly nimble back feet. You can see how, what's the word I'm looking for? When something can grasp, they're almost hand-like, the feet, if you know what I mean. Very, very flexible. They do have that thumb, a big toe on the back foot that is capable of holding them on. Not fully opposable, but nevertheless much more flexible than our feet, and capable of gripping onto branches just like that. So that nimble leaps just like that are well within their capabilities. And as I said, the only terrestrial predator, perhaps a caracal, might be able to, but a caracal is quite a cumbersome cat. They're not actually really good tree climbers because they've got very, very short tails. A caracal is a medium-sized cat, but a leopard, they can and do hunt monkeys. And as a result, monkeys are exceptionally vigilant when it comes to looking for our spotted favorites. Bouncing down again. The big male of this particular group is sitting in front of me, keeping a close eye on the proceedings. He's sitting, I can just see him, perched on the edge of the branch there, balanced up against it. Can you see him there, Jean-Andre? Or do I need to go forward a little bit? Oh, there he is. Massive male. Now, interestingly enough, speaking of males and females and so on, the primates, particularly the monkeys and the baboons that we get out here, are some of the few animals that distinguish between male and female, or at least react in different ways. So with the elephants, provided you, as we did, keep our voices very low, and just by the way, Ephraim just came past, I told him about the newborn and he said, "Oh, I'm not going there. New moms can be so angry." And he's right, which I think is what made the trust she showed us so special. But they don't distinguish between my voice and Brent's voice, provided we keep it at a very even pitch. But monkeys, on the other hand, absolutely distinguish between male and female. They are frightened of men, far more frightened of men than they are of women, particularly the males of the troops. Baboons or monkeys, they respond very, very differently, which is very frustrating when you're trying to chase monkeys away and they look at you with bland indifference. And then a man comes out and chases them away and they all run away straight away. Very frustrating. Aqua, you wanted to know if baboons would go after vervets? Very, very seldom. There's a truce between the two primates. You actually will see them foraging together. You don't generally. There's very rare recorded cases where, for example, a female baboon has gone after a baby monkey and kidnapped it, but that's highly, highly unusual behavior. For the most part, they're not creatures that are in competition with each other. I'm going to go forward a little bit to see if we can catch up with that male. They tolerate each other. They, of course, occupy basically the same habitats with slightly different ecological niches. The monkeys, of course, being the lighter of the two, are also very capable of moving out to the extremities of the trees and managing to keep themselves safe there. I've lost him. Where'd he go? Just saw him walking here. No sign of him. Let's go back. I did see one monkey back in the leadwood tree, so let's go back there, see if it's still around. Andy, you wanted to know if I've ever seen a monkey fall out of a tree. I've never seen them fall out of a tree. I've seen them misjudge a jump and stumble and come tumbling backwards. Oh, there it is. I see where it is now. Sorry, John, end up putting you at an awkward angle. He's there, looking at us that side. Here we go. Watching us closely. So I've seen them misjudge, miss a leap or a misstep, or perhaps a branch is broken underneath them that they thought was more stable than it turned out to be. So yes, I have seen that, but I've never seen one actually fully come out of a tree. I've seen them recover very, very quickly. And for the most part, it's most likely to be a baby monkey that will misjudge, just because they haven't quite got that coordination fully on pat just yet. Sometimes it's a little bit uncanny valley, sitting with primates. The expression that they adopt when they look at you. This is actually a really nice troop of monkeys. Usually the monkeys that we see are disappearing bottoms as they run away from us. And this is very pleasant to just sit and enjoy them for a while. Not an animal that we get to see all that often. Staring off into the distance. I can actually hear them having a little bit of a fight. Interesting sort of mixed family groups. There's usually one dominant male, but the females are actually the ones that really maintain discipline and hierarchy within a troop. Female monkeys often beat each other up. Now, of course, a monkey has to disperse once it reaches sexual maturity, or else it runs the risk of inbreeding, which is a conversation we've actually talked about a lot with our different animals, particularly our big cats, and the way that dispersal evolution has sort of resulted in males moving further and further afield from their natal range in order to prevent them from breeding with their mothers and their siblings. Our monkeys are the same, except that both males and females will move off and away from the troop itself. But it does take a new monkey a long time to be accepted by the rest of the troop. If it does introduce itself, usually sitting on the outskirts, it often gets beaten up quite severely, particularly by the females that tend to be quite close-knit and almost cliquey in the way that they approach things. They don't appreciate the arrival of a new female because, of course, a new female is competition for the male's attentions. But a lot of their social dynamics are actually play out in the smallest of gestures. Whenever we see them allo grooming, it's always fascinating, sifting through each other's fur, picking out ticks and parasites. There's often more to it than meets the eye. It's not just about removing external parasites. A lot of that can be currying favor with a more dominant individual. The same applies to baboons as well. I knew when I was a child somebody who had a pet vervet monkey, a pet baby vervet monkey, and that is absolutely not something that you want to do. For those of you who are thinking of having monkeys as pets, please reconsider. They do not make good pets. They are naturally wild animals. They're not domesticated, and they're much happier in their natural environment. And what often happens is they get so confused by the lack of the wild and lack of their social dynamics. Their social dynamics are so critical to the way that they interact with their world. Now all of a sudden you've got this human beings are so much more complex. You've got people coming in and out of your house, all kinds of different things, males, females, men and women, partners, children. It's just not ideal for a wild animal. Right, speaking of wild animals, since our monkeys have all but disappeared, I'm going to go and search for Karula. I think it's going to be difficult. Gracie, I have to tell you a secret. While I was watching that baby elephant, I was really hoping that you were able to watch this afternoon. Really hoping. So it's put a huge smile on my face to hear that 9-year-old Gracie, who is one of her favorite animals, is an elephant, that her heart is bursting with love for that little baby. And Gracie, you don't have to thank me. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad that you could share it with us. Wasn't that special? No, really, I really genuinely had to take a few moments to collect myself after that. That whole situation, the fall, the elephant falling down, the mother gathering, the fact that at no point Mom showed us any aggression or defensiveness, the protectiveness of Fang and the way that she was looking after the mom and the baby, touching it, talking, I mean, they were talking to each other. That's awesome. Absolutely mind-boggling stuff. The fact that we're lucky enough to witness moments like that blows my mind. The fact that Graham Wallington's vision has translated into people around the globe being able to watch a baby elephant that's a couple of hours old, stumbling, legs shaking. That is truly mind-boggling, isn't it? Now, Gracie, I'm glad you're watching. I know that there were some big smiles in Final Control as well. Genre's still grinning. It was very special. Very special. Right, let's go find Karula and her babies now, before I start to wax lyrical. Speaking of waxing lyrical, let's head across to Brent and a bird that he's found.
Look at that, the absolutely gorgeous Mariko sunbird. Oh, look at that shimmering green as he turns. You can, if you look carefully, there's a little purple band before the black of the belly. That is the Mariko sunbird. Oh, it's itchy ear. Can you hear him calling? Tip, up, chip, 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 gone. Now, they are quite difficult to get on camera. They don't sit for very long. But there we go. At least that's one sunbird species for the sunset safari. Maybe we can find another one or two in our search for the Nkahuma pride. So I think I'm going to go look for that lioness that was seen at Gallagher. Maybe she just popped off from the rest of the pride for a drink. No sign of them in this river system here. Now, as I was saying, we're going to get into a bit of a debate now while we look for the Nkahumas. And I know a lot of people were quite upset about the hole in that male lion's face. Now, male lions have had holes in their faces for millennia. It is nothing unusual. It is very normal for lion behavior. They're always full of holes, scratches, bumps, bruises. Now, moving on with that, and I know we've all witnessed the Styx cubs sort of almost disappear. There's only 2 left at the moment, and there is the start, in our opinion, that some of the Nkuhuma cubs are starting to show signs of mange. Now comes the conundrum. Do we interfere? And unfortunately, the answer is something that I think a lot of you are not going to like, and the answer is no. Now, there's a lot of different reasons for that. Oh, we're back with our buffalo herd with the wounded female. Now, the same argument would be, do we interfere with this buffalo? She's got a wound. It's obviously bleeding. It's probably painful, but all of a sudden the buffalo doesn't quite tug at the heartstrings like a lion cub does. So it's a very difficult thing before where to interfere, where not to interfere. And 9 times out of 10, not interfering is always the right option. This is an open system. Animals can come and go, and they die and live, and we'll discuss a bit more about the mange. I was hoping that the lions might be following said buffalo. But let's go carry on. We'll sneak past the buffalo. Carry on with our talk. So there we go. Martin Wilson, we're on topic for what you're wondering about. Now, sorry. Okay, so as we wonder about, let's turn the radio off. This is a serious conversation we're having now. And look out for yellow bulldogs, spare cat. No, there are none. Okay, so as I said, a lot of people will want to interfere. Now, we always look, and it's very difficult, especially if you spend a lot of time in an area and a lot of time with animals, and specific animals like we do here. We obviously form a connection, or think we form a connection or a bond with these animals. I'm afraid the animals don't share that same bond back with us, specifically with the cats. And now, if we were to treat the Nkuhuma cubs, or the Styx cubs, it's actually a very traumatic process, and you probably find just in the treatment you'll probably have a couple of cubs die. Now, it would be required to dart the cubs and the adults every day for 3 days, and have to bathe them, physically bathe them. Now, of course, forget the cost and the amount of man hours and labor, etc. Just think you have to every day for 3 days. Now, when darting cubs of any kind, or young animals of any kind, and by no fault of the vets, I mean, when they dart, a little bit of wind might push it, might puncture a lung, because they need to use, those darts are actually quite serious. So on a cub, it's always very risky to use a dart. And so there's that whole side of it as well. But now, so let's say hypothetically, we dart all the cubs, we wash them, then we've got to do follow-up treatments for 3 months after that, once a month. And then the cubs reach adulthood, but then in the next drought, mange comes again. What do we do now? Do we do it all over again? Because now as adults, those cubs are going to die. If we leave them alone, because mange is a very, very area-specific and time-specific thing, and it's probably come across because of the drought. Now, we have no control over the weather. It's not a human thing that has led to mange. Mange has definitely not been brought into this area by domestic livestock, as some people have said, oh, but can't we pretend it's been brought here by domestic livestock? It hasn't. It's natural. It's been here for hundreds of thousands of years. And it is a way of nature controlling lion populations and predator populations, specifically after a drought. Now, you've noticed that after a drought, it's your impala, your wildebeest, your zebra and buffalo take a bit of a knock. But the predator population goes up. Now, mange comes out in a drought, so does anthrax and certain things. Now, those are little controlling agents that nature has set in place. So the lion populations don't get too big, etc. So you've got to remember that everything's interconnected, and we tend to micro-focus. And also, if we take lions, for example, in the Greater Kruger, now, lions are under threat throughout Africa. Don't get me wrong. In the Greater Kruger, they're not. It's probably one of the most stable metapopulations in the world. Estimated 2,000 to 2,500 lions in the Greater Kruger. The loss of 16 cubs from 2 prides, on the big scheme of things, not that important. On our little micro scale of things, very important to us, of course. Now, going back to the cubs. So, they say with this type of mange, there's probably about a 20% survival rate in the cubs. So, only 20% of the cubs that get mange are likely to survive. However, those cubs that survive now carry on a very, very useful genetic bit of information. They are more resilient to anemia, which is the main reason that they die. They are more resilient to those mites. Now, if those cubs had been about a year old, probably 90% of them would survive the mange. It's only sort of under 6 months that the mange really makes an effect. The adults from the Styx Pride, the Birminghams, all of them are almost 99.9% certain to survive mange. It's only those young cubs that are probably going to expire if the mange gets too bad. Now, if we get more rain, that changes. The mange mites won't be as prolific, and the moist weather will help control them, bring them down. So, as again, we tend to micro-manage in our minds, and we get invested in these animals, and we want to help these animals. But we've got to stop that sometimes. You've got to take not one step back, you've got to take 100 steps back and look at it from the big picture of the whole ecosystem, not the tiny 5,000 or 6,000 acres that we drive around in an 8.5 million acre area. I know this could be difficult. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but and you're probably not going to like me for saying this, but I'm actually completely agree with the management's decisions and things like that, not to treat any of the lions that have picked up mange at the moment. Now, of course I'll be sad if the Nkuhuma's cubs get really bad mange and they get ill and they die, but one thing, I've been very lucky in the way I've been brought up, and I've been brought up in the bush, and death is part of life out here, and it's very easy for us to start anthropomorphizing and getting like very humanly involved in it, and it's difficult. It's always a difficult one. It's going to be a difficult one, but we just got to understand that there is nature. The whole argument again with that buffalo or the mites. No, why don't we just exterminate all the mites? But surely the mites have a right to live just as much as the lion cubs. That's something to think about, ponder on, while we search for the Nkuhumas. So no tracks coming out here. So there could be, I think that mating pair might be in the drainage line behind us. So I'm going to check up towards the Buffalo's Hook boundary. I'm going to go back towards Gallagher Pan where the tracks were, and I might take a little stroll, see if we can find them on foot. But so far, no tracks coming out here. And I mean, if you want to discuss the mange issue further, by all means, send through a question to the email address questions@wildearth.tv or hashtag Safari Live. And if there's anything specific you'd want to know, I'm very happy to help try explain it better. And if I didn't explain it better, also let me know and I'll try to do it again. Well, thanks very much, Aaron. Aaron in New Zealand says he agrees it is nature. Now, I think the biggest positive you must look at about if the cubs do get manges, the cubs that survive will pass on a far greater, not total immunity, but a hardiness, that genetic information. If they have cubs, will be much better chance if those cubs get mange that they'll survive, even if they do get it. So you must remember that nature works, and that's I think the most important thing. Nature works. It doesn't need us to fix it. It doesn't need us to interfere. It doesn't need us to be gardeners in Eden. It is Eden. It's perfect, and with mange and mites and death and blood and gore. That is perfect. That is nature. And talking about that, let's move on to a much happier subject. Jamie's got a little surprise for you.
And in happier news, we do indeed have a nice surprise for you. Something that Tax actually surprised us with by managing to find them. We weren't far off the mark, but we were a bit far off the mark in terms of where we were searching, so hold on. All will be revealed as soon as I manage to get the vehicle round. We did have it on the one side of the termite mound, and he's just gone onto the other. Let's go and catch up with him. Just check carefully. See now. I can still see him. I'm going to move, but I think he's about to pounce on his sister. I'm not entirely sure where his sister is. There you go. Look what Tax spotted for us. Ha ha. Looks like, I think that's Karula's little male, Hosanna. And I think the Chungile, Tax tells me that Chungile is very close to this area as well. No idea where Karula is. She might already, despite the hard work that she's put in over the last few days, she might already be on a mission for the next meal. 2 growing cubs, lots and lots of empty stomachs to fill. Okay, let's try and reposition. We might have to wait this one out patiently for a little bit, and just manage with a slightly poor view for a while before they decide to come out and, never mind. Eat my words there, because the lovely lady, the princess, has decided to come out as well. Another thing that we are so privileged to be able to witness, to spend time with these leopard cubs and to have watched them grow up. Oh no, you're going to the other side now. Oh, you little horror. And there's the little girl at the back. She's just climbed over her brother and onto the other side of the termite mound, which just goes to show lesson number 2 this afternoon, about showing a little bit of patience and waiting where you are. We would have had a beautiful view of her from where we were, but we do have this lovely view of Hosanna. At 8.5 months of age, the 2 of them starting to become more and more independent and very, very brave. Oh, big yawn from the little male. Usually. That being said, the 2 of them are so full. Mom has done such an amazing job of providing for them over the last few days. Well, actually their entire lives, but especially over the last few days. For any of our new viewers who've missed out, perhaps you've just jumped on board recently, and you missed the last 2 days spent with Karula and her 2 cubs. Karula killed a Dacre live on the sunset safari with Brent, which resulted in a bent steering bar to one of the vehicles, at which point Jeandre and myself rushed in, just in time to see her put it up in a jackalberry tree. Then, the next morning, lo and behold, the Dacre was still there, but Karula was not. And during the night, while she had fetched her 2 cubs, she'd actually managed to catch an adult male impala on her way back. So she had 2 meals. And they ate the male impala first, which is a massive meal even for 3 leopard cubs. So all 3 of them were positively bulging at the seams. And then this morning they made their way back towards the Dacre and they finished that off as well. But a Dacre is a very, very small meal, particularly if Hosanna is involved, who is living up to his reputation as a little male and eating as much as he possibly can all of the time, which I completely sympathize with. I'm much the same. So does Connor. But he's doing a lot of crowing. He's already a third bigger than his sister, I would guess. His feet are nearly the size of his mother's. You can hardly blame him. Right, are the 2 of you going to make life difficult? So here's how it's going to work this afternoon, I imagine. Karula's cubs have decided they're going to have a little fun with this woman that's been sitting with them over the last 2 days, and they're going to keep moving to the opposite side of the termite mound every time she repositions. Yep, that'll do it. As I said, becoming more and more independent, which means Karula often has to work harder than she should have to try and find them again once she's left them. Last night, at the end of the sunset safari, she was desperately trying to call to the two of them, and they were being so naughty. I know that they were in earshot. Well, I'm certain they were within earshot. And just showing a little bit of rebellion in that whatever they were doing was more exciting, and they didn't come straight to Mom straight away. Little girl did. Shungile did eventually. But it took Karula a long time to be able to call them out. So for now, she's done what any good female leopard does. She's left them in a safe place whilst she goes off and hunts for something. They've got nice, dense vegetation around this termite mound to hide them. And should anything really serious come along, they have a false marula tree growing on the termite mound in front of them. And that will provide the safest possible place for them in the event of, let's say, lions coming through, or perhaps even hyenas or wild dogs. And she knows now, life's become a lot less worrying for Karula and for all of us, in that the cubs at 8 months old are really a lot more alert, a lot more aware. Not that they weren't instinctively when they were younger, but now they've got the coordination and the speed to be safe from all but the most dire of threats, provided they keep their attention focused and don't become too lax. They're going to be absolutely fine. And Karula's got to go and do and put in the hard work now and head off once again to go and find them a meal. Can you believe it? Already she's had to head off. While they sit here, they will entertain themselves by either playing with each other, perhaps dozing, and maybe even practicing their hunting skills for when the time comes that they are fierce predators just like their mum. Marsha, you want to know if I think either cub has killed something yet, even a small animal? Yes, I do. We suspect, we don't fully know, but we suspect that Hosanna actually killed a scrub hare not too long ago. Chandra, were you there? Do you remember when it was? I know, our sense of time, I have to be honest, for all of us. When he was 4 months old, or 4 months ago. You're right, it is the same-ish. That is how maths works. Sorry, Chandra. That is how maths works if they're 8 months old. 4 months ago would make them 4 months old, yep. Just pretend I didn't say that. Do some stupid things sometimes. So, Marsha, yes, we suspect Hosanna killed the scrub hare that time, but we don't really know. It could have been Karula, and he might just have been playing with it and being possessive over it. We saw Sindile with his dwarf mongoose killed. It was the first kill that we saw him with a year and a bit ago, and he must have been close to about 10 months. And I don't think it was his first kill. I think he had probably made more previously. So yes, I think they have killed small things, even if it's just a small lizard. But chances are they have managed to kill something. It's amazing, the instinct. It really is phenomenal, and it just goes to show how innate it truly is, how built in it truly is. Female leopards don't have to teach their offspring to hunt. They're just there. It's built into their genetic code. The knowledge of how to go about it. And that's why I'm actually quite looking forward to an afternoon spent with these two, because the more you sit patiently, the more amazing things that you see. And anything from a francolin to a mongoose could come stumbling through, and we can watch them practice their hunting technique, which is definitely not particularly refined. You see? Look at him. He spotted something. I don't know what he's seen. I just want to sit for 1 second. Yeah, there he goes. Before we reposition, that's what I was thinking. I thought he was looking in that direction. So before we go all the way around, going to investigate. See, look at this. How perfectly timed was this? He's stalking something. I don't want to turn on the vehicle and interrupt him until I've got a better idea of what he's after. There's lots and lots of dwarf mongoose in this particular area, so it could be one of them. It could be a lizard that attracted his attention. That's where his sister was earlier, so there's something there. I can just see the tip of a tail. You see? Investigating. How perfectly timed was this? What you after, little boy? That's smooth movement. You've seen his mother do so many times before. Inching forward. Almost liquid in the way that they move like this. I can't reposition. I'm going to have to stay where we are. I think whatever it is, he's already been unsuccessful. If it's under that log, he's far too close. Let's just sit and wait for a second. Let's see if he gets there. Hasn't fully mastered the flat-bellied leopard crawl just yet. But he is doing quite well with slinking 101. What you investigating? Because if you're trying to catch a lizard or a reptile, your technique leaves much to be desired. Oh, now is he digging? Did he sneeze? Oh, is that what that was? At the moment I can see a shoulder blade and a bottom. Oh. Bye. I think he just lay down. That flopping motion. Okay. Or maybe just in search of, or pretending that he was just in search of a nice, comfortable sleeping spot. And we'll pretend that we believe him. Let's go around to the other side. Just in time for Shungilia to come this side. Let's see how we go. At least the light will be really nice that side. So thank you to everybody sending through your screenshots. I hope you all know that I will be going straight back this evening to steal your screenshots of the baby elephant. Obviously don't have a camera with me, and I wouldn't have used it anyway, to be honest. I was far too caught up in the situation. But I'm going to be stealing lots of screenshots today. It will almost be quite fun to do a time-lapse of the growth of the cubs from all of your screenshots. If we could somehow manage to create some kind of uniformity in terms of which ones we chose, perhaps the cubs next to Karula, and use her as a benchmark, and then do a time-lapse. Do a time-lapse combination of little cubs as they've grown bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, like those people who take a photograph of their children every day for 26 years or whatever it happens to be. That might be a slight exaggeration, but you know what I mean. We should actually think about doing the same things with the cubs. In fact, I wish I'd thought of that earlier. Just a thought for those of you with massive collections of screenshots and not quite sure what to do about them or with them. I think this is actually as good as it's going to get, unfortunately. I don't really... Let's just settle with this for now. And I'll answer Wendy's question, and then I'll just get an idea of where he is and how to go about repositioning again. Wendy, you want to know, do we have any idea how many cubs Karula has lost over the years? We know of one set, definitely, obviously, because that was the tragedy that happened live. In my own mind, I don't think that it's possible for us to be certain that she did or didn't lose any others. It's quite easy to miss pregnancy in leopards, particularly when they've got full bellies. It might not have been noticed. She might have been unsuccessful in the past. I'm not saying she was. I'm saying it's impossible for us to have known, or for anyone to have known. Obviously, I wasn't here, so I wasn't observing her personally. I've only arrived in the last year and a half. But my guess would be probably just in terms of statistics and mathematics, but who knows? I mean, Karula's beaten the odds so many times with 5 different successful litters that it's impossible for us to say. So no, we know she's lost one set. We cannot confirm whether or not she's lost any others. And I don't think anybody can, because we spend such a small percentage of these animals' lives with them. And not that we're complaining, because we're very grateful. I think we can actually reposition here. Okay, I think that's going to be as good as it gets. We've got Little Monster in the fallen tree, and Little Monster number 2 on the termite mound. Let me just see what kind of a view Jean has got from his perspective. Almost, slightly to the left and down. It's alright. I'm not going to complain. Ephraim, if you come along the southern side of that drainage, you'll see me from the road. Hello, little one. And one little cub there, and the other passed out on the termite mound. And I don't see any sign of Karula. While I've been watching the 2 of them, I've been double checking to see whether or not she's in the area. Don't think so, though. I think she's gone off searching for food to feed insatiable appetites. I can't believe I forgot to comment on that. Speaking of our leopards in general, James Richard, you would like to know, because this morning, of course, turned out to be quite tricky in that there was a massive queue to go and see the Anderson male, but finally got there at the end of the drive. But I was obviously with a school class, so I couldn't really discuss it with our regular viewers, because we were chatting and taking questions from the school kids, which of course is so important, so we're not complaining about that at all. Hold on a second. I'm just going to see if I need to... Sorry, James. Let me just see if I need to make space for Ephraim. I think I might need to. No, if... One is under here. One is under this combretum here. And then the other here on the termite mound. So I think... Okay, you're okay to go around that side. Hi, everybody. Alright, sorry James Richard, I just needed to discuss with Ephraim about which way he should go in order to be able to see these cubs properly. Hello, gorgeous, with your brown eyes. So James Richard would basically like to say, now that I've seen Anderson, would I think that he is as big as everybody, do I think he's as big as everybody makes him out to be? Yes, he is. He's absolutely massive. He's an absolutely monstrous size leopard. That being said, there's not a huge, personally, I mean, I almost got shouted at when I mentioned this earlier. I don't think there's that big a difference between him and Tingana. I mean, maybe 10 kilograms, if that. he is truly a beast of a leopard, and the true power lies in his biceps and his forearms. Tingana, in his strength, is a very, very big boy. He comes close. One thing I will say about Anderson is that he is very different looking to all of our other leopards. Shungile, with her beautiful, innocent face, is almost a different species. Obviously, they're the same. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, the Anderson male is rumored to be one of the biggest leopards in the northern Sabi Sand. If not, there's some argument about this, but there are some people better qualified than I who have seen some of the large male leopards of the Sabi Sand. He is rumored to be one of the largest leopards the Sabi Sand had ever seen. He's massive. I mean, he's at least 90 kilograms. He's probably more. And I have to say, I wouldn't want to have to come up against him in a fight, having seen how easily he hoisted that warthog up into the tree. His face is very, very different to any of our leopards. Brent described him last night as a gangster or a mob boss when he got home. And that is sort of what he's square-jawed. He's got small eyes for a leopard. And they are... I don't know how to describe it. They're very different. Tiny pupils, very tiny pupils. He's completely unique. I'm very grateful that I got to see him. He's a very special leopard. Hold on, where's this little one off to? So absolutely, he has earned his reputation. But I haven't quite fully got a grasp of his character yet. I can only tell you what he looks like. And he looks very, very different. He's also odd. He's not fully comfortable with cars, which isn't odd in itself, of course, that he's fully within his right to be that way. Whoopsie, thorn in foot. And slinking underneath the next tree, searching for entertainment. I don't know, I find him fascinating. I'm intrigued, that's the word. I find Anderson intriguing. Look at the little female. She's going to go for her brother, who is flat on her back. See? Told you, as soon as we get round to this side, they're going to go to the other side. Is she going to rush her brother or not? He's just disappeared. I can't see where he's gone. Oh, there he goes. Just disappearing behind the termite mound. Something else has attracted his attention. Completely unaware that he is being watched by the fiercest predator out here, his sister. Who I think is not going to pounce. I think she's just going to watch. Okay, we will need to move out of the sighting to make room for other vehicles. So while I hop on the Game Drive channel, let's head across to Brent to find out how his search for the Nkuhumas is going.
So I went for a walk in the little dry riverbed, and there's tracks for a lion and a lioness that head towards the old hyena den off Mvubu Road. And I can't see any tracks coming out, which leads me to believe they're somewhere between here and the Gallagher, or where I last saw the tracks near the Gallagher Pan. It's not a big area, so I was hoping to almost hear something. Oh, there, on top of this little, you see him? Zoom, on top of that little Ziziphus, up a little bit. There we go, you see that little bit of movement in the middle? Ah, now there's a tricky one. Oh. Now look at that little yellow tuft and that chest. Now, who can tell me which sunbird that is? And if you know, hashtag Safari Live or questions@wildearth.tv. I'm so happy we got another sunbird. Now, while I was walking for the lions, I saw a bird that I'm very excited to hopefully show everyone, because I know it's going to be a new species for almost all of our birders. And I'd be impressed if anyone has seen this bird before on the live drives. And let me just show you which one it is now. So I saw him while I was walking and I heard him calling. Let's put the call on for you. Oh no, let's do that. Let's show you what he looks like first. There we go, the thick-billed cuckoo. Now, if anyone's seen that, let me know. If you've seen that on live drive, I'll be very impressed. Thick-billed cuckoo. I heard one calling and spotted one while I was tracking those lions. Unfortunately, he was a bit far from the car to go try find. And I just need to do... There we go. And this call sounds like that. So you might have heard it on the Djuma Dam cam. Very exciting. Now hopefully the thick-billed cuckoo lures the lions out of the riverbed, but I doubt. I think a buffalo would be a better bet. Let's make him stop making a noise. Okay. So now it's decision time for us. So I'm pretty sure that the lions are here. Let's see if we can find a little spot to look down into the drainage. So there's the old hyena den. We can see it. Not in use at the moment, or except by porcupines by the looks of things. Just managed to squeeze through here. What do you think, Brian? I think we can. Just move the dead branch. I'm pretty sure those lions are just here. There's this big elephant path, so let's have a look. And the lion tracks on here. Or if we can spot them, they could be... I mean, I left the tracks not far from here. Now, you've got to be very careful when tracking lions in this weather. Now, the wind is blowing quite heavily, so you can't hear as well as you normally can, and neither can the lions. So sometimes you can give each other. You see it? See it, Brian? Oh, turn around. Oh, he's got a big caterpillar. That looked like an African cuckoo, not the thick-billed, but the thick-billed wasn't far from here. Let's see if we can get another view of him as we search for the lions. Now, the lion tracks I left probably, I guess, you can actually see Gallagher's light through there. And I was probably about halfway between us and them. So as I was saying, you've got to be very careful tracking lions in this weather. It's easy to surprise them at close range. So I armed myself for my tracking, which I don't normally do. And when I say I armed myself with a piece of elephant dung and a stick. Both of those... Oh, is it alarm calls? We're there to throw at the lions in case we did surprise each other. So, come on, lions, just be lying nicely below us here. Come on. You see any lion bellies, Brian? I think, if I remember correctly, I left the tracks just here. So maybe they've actually headed further towards where that go-away bird was alarm calling. Okay, let's just stop for a second. And just listening for a second. Beautiful, Brian. Lovely camera work while I try hear a lion in the bustling wind. So what I'm looking for, because it's a mating pair, I'm trying to listen to that. Okay, we're going to make our way out and head a little bit further to the west to see if we can find those lions. While we do that, Jamie's found some more elephants.
I'm getting very lucky with elephants this afternoon. I didn't have to go far. I went to investigate what young Shungile was looking at, and the answer was very much right under our noses. We've left the leopards for now. There are people that want to go and see them, and so to avoid crowding them without their mum, we've moved off, and we are now sitting with a lovely elephant herd. This baby elephant definitely looks very large in comparison to the one that we saw earlier, but still thoroughly enjoyable to just sit and spend time with them. This is a separate herd. It's not the same herd. Completely different, completely separate part of the reserve, which is great because it actually means that we can sit quite peacefully and watch them without worrying about upsetting them in any way. It looks as though one of the females thinking about having a dust bath as well. Or she might just be digging for something scrumptious underneath the surface of the soil. Yep, it was the latter. Seeking out roots. See, it's incredibly powerful. I don't know if how many of you, presumably some of you actually do enjoy gardening. Those of you who have tried to pull roots out of the soil, even shallow roots, even thin shallow roots, you know how incredibly tough it is. These elephants seem to do it almost as an afterthought without any effort involved. It just goes to the phenomenal strength of these creatures. She just yanked that up from underneath the surface of the soil once she dug it up. Of course, we've seen them struggle every now and again. It doesn't always go according to plan, but that multi-purpose trunk is very, very useful for those sorts of tasks. Stripping away the bark of the root, actually. She's not even chewing the root properly. She's just stripping away the outer layer. You can see the wind has stayed with us all day. This morning we spoke about it a lot, and the fact that it does tend to unsettle animals. Elephants especially. Lucky we've had 2 very peaceful elephant sightings now today. What would we guess? This one probably about 2 years old. The one has gained the confidence to start moving away, a little bit away from mum. Probably this little elephant is still suckling, so still reliant on mum's milk as well. But he or she is probably almost completely fully weaned. Hard to believe that much growth is going to be done in just over a year. From the little calf we saw earlier to this one. I wish we could time-lapse it now. Speaking about time-lapses of the elephant and the cubs that we were looking at earlier. Now, I spoke about this morning, but for those of you that weren't around for the sunrise safari, one of the reasons why we're seeing so many elephants at the moment is, I know Steph is also talking about it, the fact that Hoedspruit is completely dry. Elephant Plains, western edge of Arathusa, all of those areas have actually had no rain, or hardly any rain. You know, of course, we rejoiced when we got those 35 mils a couple of weeks ago on Dave's birthday on the 18th of September. Who would have guessed it? That's now nearly a month ago. We rejoiced when we got 35 mils, and we've been looking at the green flush that has spread throughout the bush. Lots of the Sabi Sand have not got that rain at all. Buffelshoek, Torchwood, Cheetah Plains, all looking fantastic. The western edge of Arathusa, Elephant Plains, apparently have had nothing. The southern Sabi Sand have had nothing, which means that that's one of the big reasons why we've been seeing buffalo. We spoke about the fact that animals are recovering now that there's food around. There's actually not that much. And that's why the elephants are quite stressed out, because they're spending a lot of time here in this area. So there have been some herds that have been less than content with us. Fortunately, we haven't had any bad luck this afternoon with elephant herds showing that they are disgruntled. But there have been a few, and these elephants are under massive pressure. It's why we're seeing so many of them in this area. It's why we're seeing so many buffalo as well. It's actually one of the few places, the oasis that has been provided by this little patch of rain. And it's amazing what a difference a couple of kilometers can make. Females, I'm unhappy with the other female. Anyway, I just thought I'd fill you in on what's actually happening around the area. Emily and DJ, speaking about elephants, of course, going from the youngest, one of the youngest members of this herd, you want to know about the oldest members, and you wanted to know if old or sick elephants are ever pushed out of the herd. Generally not actively pushed out. Especially for old elephants, because of course in their old age elephants' teeth wear down, they don't have a replacement set, and so they really struggle to chew. They will often move off on their own to the softer food places, so around rivers, or if the herd moves through that area, they might just stick around there for a little bit longer. Sick and old elephants, the herd will wait for them up to a point, but it will get to the point where there is a very good chance that elephant is going to get left behind. The matriarch has to look after the good of the herd as a whole, especially in a drought situation or something similar. She's going to keep pushing them to keep moving, and a sick or an injured elephant that can't keep up, or an older elephant that can't keep up, will eventually just become separated from the rest of the group. But for the most part, the herd is a very, very protective unit, and they'll try and stay with that animal for as long as possible. But there's only so much they can do, and they have to put the good of all of the individuals of the herd ahead of just one individual. Now, eddies have moved off into some very dense vegetation, so I think I might start to move on. I'm just going to glimpse them disappearing off a little bit further, and that, I think, is going to be that. I think there's a very good chance they could end up chasing our leopard cubs away. They're heading in that exact direction. Wait, hold on. Where is this eagle calling? I can hear it. I think I can see it. So hold on, sorry. Oh, it's the marshal. I thought it was the marshal. That's why I got so excited when I heard that call. It's the same marshal I think it's the same marshal. Oh no, hold on. It's not the marshal. Too small. Just hidden behind the... Whoops, better look where I'm driving. Juvenile... Oh no, Wahlbergs. Pale morph Wahlbergs. Okay, I got overexcited. But we got there eventually. Because this is where the marshal eagle lives. I was hoping it might have returned and decided to nest here, but it's not. It's the Wahlbergs eagle. Sorry, got very excited. Beautiful pale morph with a square tail. Quite a small eagle. In my defense, the reason I thought it was a marshal was because all I could see was one leg. There we go. Square tail, tiny size, pale morph Wahlbergs eagle. Well done, Gendre. Awesome. Our cameramen are quite amazing. Yeah. Gendre gives a non-committal. He's not happy with that. Right, where do we go from here? Should we go see if Tingana pops out? This morning, I raced across to Sydney's Dam because I thought Mvula was drinking there. And we've been trying for 3 days to get to him. So I raced up there only to discover it was Tingana. Not that that's a problem at all. But I don't know, it just turned into a messy morning. Then he nearly caught an impala 200 meters north of the boundary. And so we didn't see him. So I think we're going to go and investigate what has happened there. Go look for some tracks popping over for the last hour or so of our sunset safari. That sounds like a good plan. Our Missy Ray has raised a good question about an animal's instinct and how much they learn. Because obviously they have learnt to be comfortable with us in vehicles. You want to know if perhaps over time they will learn to associate the safari vehicles with danger. My initial answer, and the most basic answer, is no, they won't. Just because we stop and we view them as well. We stop and we view buffalo, we stop and we view giraffe. There's no necessary. Yes, certainly we stop more frequently at predators probably, or spend longer periods of time with them, but they won't be able to puzzle that out. So no, they won't necessarily associate us with danger. That being said, the reason I've said this in a more thoughtful tone is because there's some anecdotal evidence. There's also a baby elephant in that herd that's very tiny. That must have been the tail end because I'm seeing tiny, tiny tracks. And there's anecdotal evidence to suggest that spotted hyena have learned to follow spotlights towards, to see what's going on, to investigate. Because of course we often sit with spotlights on lion kills, for example. So that's one of the reasons, and I'm saying it's anecdotal evidence. It's not fully proven, and it's not fully proven in all areas. But I wouldn't put it past a spotted hyena to puzzle that out. They're very clever animals. So that's the reason why we don't spotlight leopards on a kill on the ground, unless it's in a tree. And the same reason why we don't spotlight the cubs, one of the reasons why we don't spotlight cubs in the initial stages of their infancy. Just to avoid the possibility, just the slimmest chance, that that might be the case. I mean, lions give themselves away. A lion sitting around a kill, they make so much noise that that's often one of the reasons why animals are attracted to that sound or move away from that sound. So often, believe it or not, leopards will come and investigate. They're curious creatures. They think that they can do it safely. They'll come and they'll sneak around and they'll have a look at lions on a kill. I often wonder how often that happens. I've seen it a few times with their curious nature, but then I don't think that's a situation of them learning to associate our vehicles with something like that. It's just that they've heard the lions. Lots and lots and lots of early tracks around. Okay, let's go see what else we can find. I can find this bird that's calling. Magpie shrikes are gathering for the evening. Oh my goodness, the magpie shrikes are making baby magpie shrikes. Again, we had crested barbets doing that yesterday. And I actually saw the lapwings on Arethusa doing the same thing this morning. So spring is most definitely in the air. I'm just gonna stop here. Actually, should we go back and do it from that angle? Yes. Okay, much more romantic, says Gendre. if perhaps we leave them in silhouette. Ah, oh dear. My mistake. They've gone off in search of privacy. Although there's 3 of them. Oh well. Sorry everybody. I should have stopped there. I wasn't thinking properly. Aha. I had a feeling this would be the case. Brent, once he sinks his teeth into a challenge, refuses to give up until he's achieved his goal. Let's go and see whether or not he's managed.
Hello, in Kahuma. Aren't you looking lovely? Now, it's not only one in Kahuma, it's all in Kahuma, all cubs and a Birmingham. And they have managed to make a kill. I can't see what it is at the moment. It's right down in a thicket, but there we go. Oh, look, there's a cub coming next to the big male. Oh, playing. It looks like it's another buffalo. I can't really see properly, but we'll have a look just now. Oh, the cubs are starting to get active. Well, it looks like we found the Nkuhumas at the right time of the day. I wonder they were not interested in those other buffaloes because they already... Oh, look at that! There we go. Happy lions. Oh, swat. Where's my... Now, the kill's in quite a precarious spot. I'm going to try and see if we can get a view of it shortly. So I just need to call this in on the radio. Oh, what do you got? Have they got more than one kill here? Did that look like a little foot of something? That is a small antelope. Foot. Leg. And then there's a big kill at the back. So it looks like they might have caught more than one thing here. Hashtag incredible in Kahumas. Stations that it's the whole Nkahuma Pride, and they've got, it looks like a Nyari Bumba here, but it's not in a good place. Best access is from Gallagher Pan along that 2-track that heads to the west. There we go. Hello, little one. Now, as you can see, a lot of the Nkahuma cubs are still looking very healthy. I'm just going to try and move a bit, see if we can see what exactly that kill is. I think it could be a buffalo, but it looks like they might have caught something else as... Oh, sorry, I've got binoculars caught in my... Something else as well. Now, I mean, they must have been watching me because I was tracking them just in here, and their tracks everywhere. Anyway, well, at least I spotted them before I became their next meal. Only joking, of course. Is that a wildebeest or a buffalo? I can't even see the horns. Is that a wildebeest? Now, then that makes a bit more sense. If that's a wildebeest, that could be a pregnant female, and that little leg that was being chewed on was a fetus. So if you come along that 2-track from Gallagher Mighty and you look north, and at the junction of those two skovers, they're just on the northern side there, but it looks like one of the Wasatis and the Wanuna might move back down towards Gallagher Pan. Oh. Are we going to get there's some lion flirting going on? There we go. Wow, high five. That's impressive stamina for a lion, mister. Normally it's over in a matter of about 5 or 6 seconds. Well done. And it's just a scent mark, you know. Make sure everyone knows how dominant I am, how glorious I am with my big mane. Okay. Oh, he's just a bit too close for me to move it at the moment, so I'm not going to. Where's the other lionesses? Are they behind us, Brian? And they've gone to sleep. Oh, if he goes to the carcass, we could see some. Okay, he's moved off a bit. Now, Kat in Tampa is wondering, is it unusual for male lions to be so tolerant? There we go, look at that. Do you see that? Oh, that's unfortunate. That's the kill's just in the worst place. He just chased the lioness off, and in doing that, he also chased the cub. I'm going to try and find a spot where we can see a bit better. But I mean, it's right on the slope of this very steep little dry river system. I think we might get a view in here. It is a wildebeest, and a female wildebeest, so, and it's pretty much finished, to be honest. Okay, now how's that, Brian? Wait, let me just, I need to rearrange for the VR, not to take a blow from the branch. Oh no, that's not going to work. Well, he just went to chase them for chasing's sake, and he's left them alone now. And there we go. Look at that. He doesn't know what to do. Meat or mating? Meat or mating? Now, those two things are massive priorities in a male lion's life. And we're in quite a precarious spot here. So she wants to feed, he wants to mate and feed. So that lioness he was mating with has moved off a little bit. Sorry about the squeaky brakes. I think that's the best spot we're going to get for the kill. And I think for now, let's just hang here. Literally hang on the precipice of this very steep drainage line and see what happens. He's standing behind us, looking down towards the carcass. And there's a female wildebeest, and it's pretty much finished. Probably caught it during the day today. Okay, she's coming back. He's growling already from a distance. You can see there he is. Oh, he's turned around. Will she take this chance? Now, he's got his priorities torn at the moment. Oh, one of the cubs has come back to the carcass as well. She's sneaking in. Okay, here he comes. Is he going to charge? Silly boy. There's almost no meat left. He's obviously hungry, but he's so concerned about leaving the lioness that's in estrus that he doesn't know what to do. Even an adult female lioness, wildebeest, plus the fetus, is not really enough meat for a pride of this size. So You can see it's almost all done. I think that was probably killed during the day today at some point, and you can see what's left. It's not quite like a buffalo. So there is a chance they might hunt again tonight. He's really torn. How incredible those sounds. There's a cub trying to sneak in, so he didn't charge, he took a low growl. Far more tolerant, and as Kat was wondering, male lions are quite tolerant of the cubs. It's not unusual. They will get upset and angry with them, but they'll never really react to them like we just saw there, and that was directly at an adult lioness. You can see that's the guy who had the big split in his lip. You can't decide, am I going to eat? Now, why don't you just take the carcass and go lie with it near where she is? That would be the more sensible thing if you were worried about one of your coalition members sneaking in. Some cubs coming in. You can see he's not growling at them, even though if an adult lioness came that close to the carcass, he would probably chase her. Oh, there's a little growl at the cubs. So he is quite hungry. I mean, a male needs to eat quite a bit more than a female. And you can see that carcass is almost all gone. Remember, this is 100% live. You are witnessing this incredible lion interaction at the exact same time as us. And remember, if you want to ask any questions about it, hashtag Safari Live or questions@wildearth.tv. While we sit here patiently, see what plays out with the Birminghams and Nkahumas, let's go see what Jamie's plans are.
Well, you won't believe what has just transpired. I was on my way to go searching for Tingana, and I hear on the radio that Karula has killed an impala. She is truly unstoppable, quite incredible. Now, we're going very slowly on the way there because there's a little bit of an internal dispute amongst an elephant herd just off the road, so I'm going nice and slowly to see what's happening here. The huge female came striding in to sort out whatever nonsense is happening. I don't think I'm going to linger with them. Pardon? Tiny calf. I think we need to keep moving. The instinct says we just keep going. Alright. It's a newborn calf as well. In fact, this might even be our elephant. No, it's not our elephant herd. No, we need to just shuffle ever so slightly. We'll turn around. I don't believe it. There's another newborn calf. It's a few days old, this one. It's not newborn. But I just want to put us in a position that we're not going to risk ourselves and the elephants. So, no, they're very unsettled. Okay, guys. That's the young elephant. It's a young elephant shouting at us. Let's just move over. Bear with me one sec. We'll go and have a look, but we'll do it very carefully. Hello, everybody. How are you? Awesome. Oh, wonderful. No, we're on our way there now, so we're going to go and have a look. Oh, no, we missed. Oh, wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. There's a tiny baby Ellie. For the bit upset, so just careful. But there's newborn calf there. Okay. Oh, shame. Yeah, copied that. Thanks very much. Enjoy. Shame, one lady there, so she's terrified of elephants. So fair enough. And they can be quite scary. With all of the vehicle traffic passing, I just want to think this through a little bit. I think we should leave these elephants. Yeah. I think we should leave these elephants. It's windy. And with a newborn calf, again, with an internal dispute, I don't think it's sensible. No, it's not. They're very cross. Let's head back across to Brent while we get to Karula and see what he's up to with the lions.
Well, since the dad won't let them eat, the cubs are playing. Oh, they were. This one's just making him or herself comfortable. Now, if we zoom in there, you can actually start seeing a few of those early signs of mange on some of the cubs. Now, they've contracted a bit older than the Styx cubs, which is already a positive. Oh, there we go. We're going to go stalk. There we go. Boom! Look at that. Isn't that just too sweet? They are just too wonderful, these little cubs. Oh, got him by the lip. Oh, there we go. You see, that got a bit more serious. Ears flat. Oops, sorry. Oh, there we go. I'll just take a stick with me. Boom! Sacked, as I think you say in American football. Is that sacked? I think. Rugby would just say tackled. Oh, he's got a little, looks like a Tumbuti leaf on his shoulder there, a little bit of red. Apparently he's getting some incredible screenshots. Keep screenshotting away. Remember, share them with us. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Or pop them on our Facebook page. You just hear that deep growl from the bush next to us. One of the cubs are playing right on the edge of the thicket that the expired wildebeest is in. There's the male. Standing by. Northwest. If you come from that little two-track that heads west from just to the north of Gallagher-Mighty. Oh, cub argument. a little bit to the east of where Karula was. So, I nearly forgot about our bird quiz a bit earlier. Now, can you believe it looked like a white-bellied sunbird. And Cam and Virginia and I myself also thought it was a white-bellied sunbird initially. But looking at it again, it probably is a white-bellied sunbird, but it's a very strange morph because white-bellied sunbirds don't usually have that yellow tuft. So I actually am going to send it off to a friend of mine and see if there have been records of a white-bellied sunbird with a yellow tuft. Normally it's the double collars that have that yellow tuft, but there was no red on his chest. And guys, please, if you got any screenshots of that sunbird, I'd love, because I didn't get a picture of it, I'd love for you to pop it onto Safari Live or onto my Facebook page, and so I can have a look at it properly and see if it's necessary that we go send it off. It could just be a variance, and sunbirds do have lots of variances in their colors. So it's probably 85-90% a white-bellied sunbird, but that little yellow tuft has excited me slightly that it might be something a little different. Okay, well, we can't really see all the cubs. Are they down with Dad, or they've gone playing in the river? I think they're playing in the river. Okay, well, we're going to sit here. We can't really get down to that part of the river. And while we do that, Jamie is back with the Queen.
Back with the Queen once again and watching one of the gorgeous cubs attempt to open the carcass that she has left for them. So she's killed another adult impala, another adult ram impala. She's incredible. I mean, that is an antelope that is basically her size. And at the moment, this little cub is attempting to work out how this all works. What now? How are you going to get this open? And this is the one thing that female leopards do leave their cubs to figure out on their own. How to get a carcass open, which is not as easy as you might think. The skin of the animal is very, very thick, and it requires a practiced technique. And whilst their hunting instincts are innate, practicing on an impala like this, there we go, there's the suffocation hold that we've seen the lions demonstrate before. Shame, poor impala. Not much dignity in death, but definitely being used as a cub training device. I believe that you saw something similar with Brent not too long ago with Shungile. Here we go again, attempting to find her way in. Interesting already how female leopards often show a little bit more in the way of independence. You can see now she's tucking in. Oh, climbing on top of that impala. Yes, there we go. That's the end you should be going for. Not always that easy when you're not so big, huh? Oh, pulling it to get in. Just by the way, when she does get in, this might not be a sighting for sensitive viewers. For those of you who perhaps are a little squeamish, perhaps this is your first time on a live safari, it could get quite gross quite quickly. It's all nature, it's all the reality of nature, and this little one has to learn these skills in order to survive. But for some of you, it might not be what you want to watch. I'm just warning you in advance. Oh, shame. Well, she's gone for one of the most vulnerable parts of the body, and that she'll definitely be able to break the skin of. It is really, really important that she does practice the skill. It's not that easy. And you can see it's a challenge for her. But she'll learn as she gets older, and she'll learn which technique works best. And she's discovering which parts of the animal are the softest, so that she can actually tuck in. And she goes ripping away at the abdominal cavity. In the meantime, her brother is off exhausted to the side, flopped in a pile of spots, and little white belly showing still. He's still actually, he doesn't look that round anymore. It's amazing how fast these animals' digestive system really works. And then, of course, the queen responsible for all of this is lying off to the side, recovering after what was probably quite a difficult hunt. Well done, girl. 2 adult male impala in less than 3 days. That's not bad for any leopard, let alone a female with 2 growing cubs. Are you going to go and help your sister? Or not really? Going to let her do all the hard work and then scoff all the food? Possibly. And Taikoni, absolutely. How amazing have our sunset drives been recently? We've been unbelievably fortunate. We've been so fortunate that at times it's been difficult to choose what to do and where to go. From Karula and her cubs being on Djuma, the lion's always on Djuma, the Anderson male that Solala prides, that baby elephant that is still mind-boggling, still not entirely or fully functioning at the moment. We've been truly very, very lucky. And some of that has to do with the drought, at least in terms of predators, and the fact that we're seeing them all. October is one of the best times to be in the bush to see sights like this. One of the top time to see the big cats. But it hasn't just been that, has it? There's been something truly special about the bush at the moment. It's just been providing endless amounts of endless amounts of entertainment. Oh, Susie, you wanted to know, can this little leopard break the skin? She can. She can. But it's hard. It's really hard work for her. The task that her mother has left her with is a difficult one. Mom hasn't even bothered eating any of it. She's left this whole process for little Shungile. And look at this. As she tumbles off the back of the impala. She's learning so much in these moments. Learning which joints to go for, where the joints of an impala actually sit. Because, of course, knowing where the joints are in a prey animal can be essential, especially when trying to go for something large. She's learning the soft parts, the armpits, learning the shape of an impala face for the time that perhaps she doesn't get her neck hold right and she's got to hold it by the nose. No, distraction. Fly. Elbow. Noise. Fly. Oh, they are gorgeous. I think it's dead, Shungile. I think you killed it. Well done. Such a happy little leopard. Oh, and distraction. She's actually quite hyped up. She's almost overexcited. That instinct really, truly kicking in. And now she's exhausted herself. Mark, absolutely. His Royal Highness, Prince Hosanna, is waiting for his sister to do all of the kitchen work and the hard work before he tucks into his meal. Somehow I have... She's having fun, you know. She really, truly is. And somehow I have a feeling that if we come back tomorrow and Karula's managed to hoist this kill, the first animal we're going to see feeding on it will be Hosanna. Look at her. You can see how hyped up and on edge she is. Okay, we're going to go sit down now. Oh, you've given up so easily. Oh, look at that face. The innocence in those eyes. Now, we spoke about this fact before. Oh. Wow, what a pounce. See, she's practicing. It's not just about opening this carcass either. It's about practicing different things, different approaches, pounces, leaps and jumps. Just a reminder for our newer viewers, we spoke about this earlier, and with spotlighting ethics, Unfortunately, because this kill is on the ground, because she's got 2 cubs with her, we won't be spotlighting this scene, so we're going to spend as long as the light will permit us with them, and then we're going to have to start leaving. We've got a few more moments, though, to spend with her. I mean, look at that. Grappling with the task that her mother has left her with. Yes, much easier to chew a tree for a bit, isn't it? Full roll. We've been thoroughly spoiled this afternoon, I have to say. I'm sorry, she's just so thoroughly entertaining. Kevin, you wanted to know if some animals do kill and then eat quickly, or if some of them leave it. Wild dog and cheetah and lion often tuck in almost straight away. Gianna is having a great chuckle at the back there. She is so thoroughly engaging. Leopards, well, actually, all of the big cats, if their chase has been particularly difficult, to the point that they're actually overheating, you'll often see them take a break before they start tucking into the food that they've caught. They're just too exhausted to eat, or to even think about eating. So you'll see it with all of them. That leg's pesky, isn't it, little one? You'll see it with leopards, lions, and cheetah. They might stop and take a break to cool down. Wild dogs wolf their food down to the point that they often leave scraps behind, which we saw in spectacular style the day that Karula went and gathered the leftovers from the wild dog kill and added it to her kill in the tree, safely ensconced as she watched the wild dogs race across beneath her. Now that was a truly amazing time. And then, of course, what happened with Karula and the daycare is another good example. She killed the daycare, she put it in a tree, and she stumbled across an adult impala that she then managed to catch and kill. And being an opportunist that she is, she's not going to leave food to go to waste. Ate the impala first because she couldn't hoist it into the tree. Although I suspect this is heavy. This is a very heavy kill. We've got to really hope that Karula actually at some point relatively soon gets up and feeds off as much as possible. She's still letting Shungile practice for now, but if she manages to hoist that kill into the tree, I will be unbelievably impressed. She's done it before, but this is a big ram. It's a massive ram. Going to be seriously hard work. She almost needs to feed off it now so that she can get it up into the tree. But that being said, I'm not entirely sure how much space Karula has right now. She was so full-bellied when we last saw her that this entire feat is truly impressive. Let's enjoy what little we can see of the cub playing on the carcass. It's very shaky, I'm afraid. So let's take one last look, and then we're probably going to have to leave. It just is so incredibly dark. Tucking in. I'll try and make the absolute most of it. That's your tail, dear. No, that's still your tail. Whee. Oh, now there's a stick on you. And see, she's very hyped up in terms of that hunting instinct. Like a cat playing with a ball of wool. Except much more serious. Because, of course, her survival depends on these skills that she's practicing right now. She's so tiny that when she sits on the impala, her legs don't even touch the ground. You've got to pick an approach, my girl. Those of you with cats will have seen this behavior before. when they have their sort of silly 5 or 10 minutes when they jump on top of something, whether it is a feather or a toy or whatever it is that you're playing with them, and you see them go into that, it's almost like their pupils dilate and they can't focus and they're scattered all over the place. It's exactly what we're looking at with Shungile. But it's very, very serious for her because, of course, her future depends upon it. It's too dark, I'm afraid. I think it's time for us to go. I have to get out of here without switching on my lights while we navigate our way out so that we don't risk compromising Karula's position. So I think let's go now while I can still see a little bit. What an incredible afternoon it's been. Bye-bye, you three. Well done, Karula. See you tomorrow morning. I wonder if those eddies have gone and we can sneak past here. Hopefully that will work for us. I had to go all the way around to get past another herd of elephants. Lots and lots of them about at the moment. Leaving Karula and Obamba open lock. Thank you, everybody. I don't actually know who found it. I know that Ephraim went out of his way to make sure that I heard about it, though, which is very kind of him. Another thing, the reason why we can't stay, of course, is that on Jigger we haven't got the infrared set up. It's a massive male kudu here. Again, it's quite dark. He's standing staring at us next to the dead tree, looking off into the distance. Obviously, I can't spotlight him. They're not going to see it. Okay. He's beautiful, but at a time, very dark, yeah. And we will be working on getting Jigger set up with the infrared, but for now, we can just enjoy those moments. That was incredible. Watching her play like that, and Mom's so close. The termite mound that she went to fetch them at, or from, is just off to my right. And we were so close. It's over here. This is Ha! I hope you all saw that because it was magic, and I will not be repeating it. And there we go. That was where the cubs were, off to our right. A large termite mound. Now, Brittany, welcome to the Sunset Safari. You want to know what are termite mounds exactly. So a termitaria is the home of a termite colony, most of which is below the surface of the soil. So you kind of, with the termite mounds, you're kind of seeing the surface, the tip of an iceberg, essentially. Most of what happens is a series of tunnels and chambers underneath the surface of the soil that's home to the different termites. They'll all be the same species, but of course termites divide in terms of their different roles. You've got your queen, and you've got your workers, and you've got your soldiers, and there's more complex detail, but that you get the basic idea. So that is all happening below the surface of the soil. A termite mound is soil that's been brought up, or mud basically, soil and mud, that's been brought up from deep beneath the surface of the soil and then packed together with a combination of termite saliva. And once it dries, it forms a very, very solid top. And the reason that they do that is they create within that a series of vents, because of course lots of activity underground is bound to produce heat. There's a lot of rotting plant material giving off warmth. There's fungus in certain cases. And particularly for the fungus harvesting, farming bacteria. No, those are all not words. Particularly for the termite species that farm fungus to help them break down plant material, they need to maintain a constant temperature for that fungus. So that termite mound that we see is a series of vents and sort of like a chimney almost, or a skylight, that allows for airflow that they can easily open up or block off depending upon whether it's too hot or too cold, which is why in winter you can actually go and feel the heat coming out of the tunnels or the openings of active termite mounds. And interestingly enough, Jean-Andre was just talking about this, about the fact that this morning on his walk with Steph, the termite mounds were, a lot of the stale air from underground was coming up to the surface, and they could smell it. They could smell the air coming through. So that is what a termite mound is. And some of them get absolutely massive. Termite mounds, generations and generations of termites have worked for decades to produce some of the termite mounds that we see. The ones in Cheetah Plains are particularly spectacular. They're positively, I mean, mountainous comes to mind, but that's maybe a slight exaggeration. Let's just say they're very, very big. Some of them are about, I would say, close to 2 stories high. So I hope that explains a little better, Brittany, what a termite mound is. I'm just going to switch off my side lights for a moment and just dim my brights. Since there's a whole group of impala here, possibly even having recently lost one member of their bachelor herd, and definitely likely to be nervous because they would have heard the alarm calls from earlier when Karula caught that male impala. So I don't want to add to their state of agitation. Poor things. Gosh, Eddies are very noisy tonight. I'm slightly glad we took this route towards home. I know that it is getting dark. Let's go across and find out what Brent's plans are.
So we left the lions. It was getting dark. The cubs had gone right down into the river system. We couldn't see them. The ladies were lounging. So we decided to see what we could find for the last little bit of drive. Maybe we'll get lucky with a bush baby, a chameleon. No one's found that first chameleon of the season yet. I think we might need a little bit more rain before they pop out. But it seems like the cat streak is really continuing. What's it now? A month and 4 days. Every drive there's been a big cat. Absolutely incredible. And I'm excited about some of the birds that are arriving. Thick-billed cuckoo. Definitely have to find that. It sounds like quite a few of you have seen a thick-billed cuckoo on camera before. And Brian and I can't ever remember showing one on camera. Can you, Brian?
Nope, I can't.
Nope. So it must have been with either Scott or James or Mark. Actually, speaking of birds, it'd be quite nice to have a little owl before the end of drive. The X55 would like to know, have we seen many snakes or lizards during the safaris? We see them from time to time. It is quite difficult. They hear the vehicles coming and they skedaddle. But we have seen quite a few black mambas. I remember quite a long time ago we actually had an African rock python on bushwalk with Steph. Oh, that was a very long time ago. That was last year in March, I think, or May. But we've seen black mamba, we've seen puff adder, we've seen Schlievelin's blind burrowing snake. We've seen triagamas occasionally, Turner's thick-toed gecko occasionally. But generally the reptiles are quite hard to find. Actually, we see more snakes and lizards in camp than anywhere else. Where Jamie and I live at, the Inga's house on the other side of quarantine, I think we've had over 10 species of snake, and at least 4 species of gecko. We've had black mamba, puff adder, Mozambique splitting cobra, black-headed centipede eater, thread snake, the Stevens blind snake, red-lipped herald, variegated bush snake, yellow-bellied sand snake, I know I'm missing. Shield-nosed cobra. Must be one or two more that I'm forgetting. And we've got the most awesome geckos that live there. Massive Turner's thick-toed geckos. I mean, bigger than my hand. I'll try and get a photo of them. Now, of course, one of my favorite little creatures that we get around our house is an owl. And we have a pair of Scops owls that are quite often in our garden. It's always great to see. It's the smallest owl species that we get out here. Oh, no bush babies so far. But exciting prospects for the morning. Hopefully Karula's kill doesn't get stolen by hyenas. The Nkahumans, I think, are going to hunt again tonight. So maybe they'll be successful. Maybe they'll be hungry and we get to join them on the hunt on the sunrise safari. So from the Killer Bees, it's been wonderful. Great having Brian back on camera with me. And we will see you bright and early for the sunrise safari. For now, over to Jamie.
I think Jeandre was absolutely right when he suggested finishing off with this gorgeous view of the moon. I feel as though such a special sunset drive needs a special send-off. Let's just take in this incredible view for just a few seconds. Isn't that stunning? Look at the craters on the moon. You can see them so incredibly clearly. It never gets old being in the African bush, but I have to say that days like today are rare and truly special. Not that every day isn't truly special, but today was particularly special. That is I think that's the youngest baby elephant I have ever seen. I've seen them a few days old, but a few hours old, with mom's legs still wet, I think is very, very rare treat indeed. I'm so glad that you were all there to share it with me, because I think I'm going to be thinking about that. I'll probably go to bed tonight dreaming of it. A beautiful little perfect creature that's taken 2 months to create. Sorry, not 2 months, 2 years. Oh, now I've got a passenger. That's not a good way to end off the afternoon. And I saw a bush baby at the same time. No, go away, leave me alone. And my bush babies. Oh, there we go. Should we try it, Jeandre? Why not? Why not indeed? Oh, little thing. Little. I think it's a little. Oh, there's one on the left. Hello. Peekaboo. Oh. Okay. Well, it was a nice idea just to try, but I think they have moved into dense vegetation. We had a brief view of one of my favorite tiny primates. And now it's time to head for home and wonder what excitement tomorrow morning's sunrise safari will bring. And it's time for us to do our goodbyes and our thank yous. But first of all, a big thank you to Jeandre for his wonderful camera work as always. And thank you for throwing the dung at me, because I think I needed that. Not many girls can say they felt they needed that, but I definitely did, and I appreciate it. And to Kirsty and Jerry in Final Control, as well as to our tech team, to Kirsty and Rebecca in Final Control. Hello Rebecca, welcome back. And most importantly, a big thank you to all of you for joining us across the globe. I hope you had as a wonderful time as I did, and we'll see you on the Sunrise Safari. Bye bye everybody.